Hey everyone, I am Pradeep Mamgai. Today we will look at different performance and preferences settings in Filmora X. You will learn how to freeze a frame and set up a proxy. You will also learn about the photo placement and insert mode settings. So without further ado, let us begin. First, let's go up to File and click Preferences to open the Preferences window. This window has several tabs at the top. The first tab is the general one. Here you can select your preferred language. You can select your preferred interface theme here. Here you can specify how frequently Filmora should check for updates. You can check this checkbox if you don't want Filmora to show you messages automatically. You can use these checkboxes to prevent Filmora from displaying the startup window in Creative Cloud every time you launch the application. In the Folders tab, you can specify where Filmora should place files on your computer that you create with Filmora X. By clicking the folder icon on any of these, you can change the default location. Here, you can change where effects packs will live on your computer. The options in the Editing tab will let you define the default duration for various elements that you would use with your video. If you drag an image file, transition or effect to the timeline, or create a freeze frame, the duration of the element in the timeline will be controlled by these options here. A freeze frame is a still image representing a single frame of your video clip. Freeze frames are typically used to make it appear as if time has stopped at a specific point in your video. If I want to freeze a frame, I will anchor my playhead to the frame I want to freeze and then click on the speed icon on the timeline and choose freeze frame from the layout. The duration of the freeze frame is shown in gray in the timeline. I can change the duration by dragging this end of the gray bar. If I want to use a precise value for the duration, I will click on this gray bar and then choose duration, and then I will change value here. The default duration can be changed here. From this drop-down, you can select how your picture will adjust once you drop it in the timeline. We have three options here: Fit, Crop to Fit, and Pan and Zoom. Fit will automatically adjust the image and center it in the canvas. You may see black bars around the image in the preview window. Crop to Fit will put your image in the timeline, but depending on the size, Filmora may have to crop the image in order to fit it in the timeline without changing the aspect ratio. Lastly, Pan and Zoom will add an effect to your image while also fitting it to the aspect ratio. You can use these two options to specify what happens when you drag a media item from the Media tab onto a media item in the timeline. The first option we have here is Split Selected Track Only and Insert. It will only split the selected track and then insert the media. The other option we have is Split All Tracks and Insert. It will split all tracks in the timeline and insert the dragged footage. This checkbox lets you toggle the red scissor button on the playhead. The red button is here on the playhead. I can drag it to change its position on the playhead. Now, if I want to split a footage, I can do so by first anchoring my playhead at the desired location and then clicking on this button. If you toggle off this button, then to split footage, either you have to click the scissor icon here or press Ctrl B. In the Save tab, you can instruct Filmora to automatically take backup at certain intervals. You can also define backup directory path and path for the default project location. Filmora also gives you ability to upload to a cloud or to a network drive. The autosave feature is very important, and I suggest that you keep it on. If your system crashes or becomes unresponsive for whatever reason, you can always fall back to the backup and save your day. In the Performance tab, you can enable GPU acceleration for rendering, playback, and video decoding. GPU stands for Graphic Processing Unit. When editing, you may be working with high-resolution files that are slowing down your system. If you have a graphics card installed on your system with sufficient memory, you can enable these options to reduce lag. We have already talked about preview render options. At the bottom, we have proxy settings. Using 4K or USD files in your projects causes Filmora X to slow down and even crash, especially if the computer you are editing on doesn't have a lot of processing power. The simple solution is to use low-resolution proxies for editing and playback. Proxies are considerably smaller than raw video files. Using proxies is a simple but very effective video editing technique that speeds up the video editing process by reducing the time it takes your computer to render previews or perform any other video editing task. From here, you can set the proxy resolution and the location of the proxy files. When the media you import exceeds the value you specify here, Filmora X will create a proxy file. Enable this checkbox if you want Filmora to automatically delete proxies when you close the project. Also, I recommend that you enable this checkbox for better performance. You are watching a video in a series of tutorials to help you learn how to use Filmora X. If this tutorial has helped you become a better video artist, please consider subscribing to the channel and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing. Thank you for watching.